Hello and welcome to NIFA's webinar series. My name is Stacy Fotinos and I am the Homeownership Operations Manager at NIFA. Today I'm going to be presenting to you some common deficiencies that we have found in NIFA package submissions. I will be back at the end of the webinar in order to give you some closing comments. NIFA common deficiencies. Common file deficiency number 1 includes income documentation. Most oftentimes we are missing verifications of employment or pay stubs or potentially profit and loss statements when those are applicable. As a reminder, NIFA includes all income sources for every household member age 18 and over who will be occupying the property. That includes full-time, part-time, seasonal, temporary employment, self-employment, unemployment, any spousal support like child support or alimony, VA disability. We do include more than just base income, including overtime, bonuses, commissions, shift differentials, salary in lieu of benefits, or per diem payment unless it can be offset by expenses. And as a reminder, NIFA projects income calculations forward for the next 12 months. NIFA programs are income-based, and review of the file without the inclusion of income documentation eliminates the effectiveness of our review. Please remember to include critical income documentation with your submission package. That critical documentation includes written verifications of employment, termination verifications of employment, tax returns or tax transcripts, 30 days consecutive pay stubs, or a current year profit and loss statement if applicable. With regard to verifications of employment, NIFA requires a completed written verification of employment for each occupant of the subject property. Year-to-date income and all prior year income information is reviewed by our compliance team. NIFA calculated household income includes any projected increases in salaries. So yes, we do look at raises. Overtime and bonus income are also used in household income calculations. When reviewing your 1003, prior to your pre-closing file review submission, all prior employment requires either a termination verification of employment form, and verbal VOEs are allowed, or beginning and ending employment dates. Pay stubs, we do have a 30-day requirement. Our pay stub review includes identification of the following: regular pay, overtime pay, shift diff pay, bonus, commission income, automatic deposits to either single or multiple deposit accounts, retirement accounts, and health savings accounts. Any self-employed borrower, non-purchasing spouse, or non-purchasing occupant to the NIFA transaction are required to submit a current year profit and loss statement. NIFA has available for use the Affidavit 4 Profit and Loss Statement. This form can be found in the Program Documents section of Lender Online. NIFA does not require a lender to use Affidavit 4, and we will accept other forms of profit and loss statements from the self-employed party, including a handwritten statement. Common file deficiency number 2, asset statements. Perhaps we're missing checking or savings accounts. Maybe we need explanations of deposits. Perhaps a health savings account statement was not included, or there are retirement statements missing, such as 401k, stocks and bonds, or maybe an IRA account. Reviewing asset statements by the NIFA Homeownership Team can provide information about additional sources of income not listed on the 1003. For example, does your customer have a side business not necessary for underwriting qualification? Does your customer earn interest from assets? Does the asset statement reflect regular deposits that can't be identified as traditional payroll? Common file deficiency number 3, tax returns or tax transcripts. Remember that NIFA requires the federal return only. We do condition frequently for missing borrower signatures. We do require that all schedules are submitted with that federal return. However, worksheets are not necessary for inclusion in your submission package. You also can include tax transcripts in lieu of returns. NIFA file submissions require the most recent 3 years tax transcripts or the most recent 3 years federal tax returns with signatures for all occupying borrowers and any non-purchasing spouse on the loan. A non-purchasing occupant who wishes to take title to the subject property must submit 3 years of tax returns with signatures or IRS transcripts. In September of 2018, NIFA updated our policy for submission of tax returns in the pre-closing review package. Tax returns submitted to our team must contain borrower signatures. This is required for package approval and can no longer be signed at the closing table. With NIFA e-signature approval, we will accept e-signatures on tax returns. The homeownership team reviews the submitted tax returns or transcripts for evidence of any additional income not listed on the 1003, interest income on asset accounts, payment of mortgage interest, and payment of real estate taxes. When submitting the tax returns, all schedules connected to the federal return are required. Common file deficiency number 4, NIFA form completion. Oftentimes, we are conditioning for missing signatures, or perhaps the documents themselves are incomplete. Form A, the household verification affidavit. Sections 1 and 2 are often conditioned for incompleteness. NIFA is required to collect both the total number of household members as well as the number of household members with any source of income. Occasionally, borrowers are not required to file or haven't filed a tax return. Section 3 provides a location to identify the reason for non-filing. As a reminder, the reason for not filing should be income related for things such as unemployment or income less than required for filing, or only non-taxable income was received. Family assets are another critical piece to household income calculation for NIFA loans. Form A was modified in March of 2019 to allow for identification of all asset types by the borrower, the co-borrower, and any non-purchasing spouse. Please remember to submit the most recent statement for all the identified assets. NIFA Form D, the notice to mortgage loan applicant of potential recapture tax. Conditions on NIFA Form D can include an incorrect loan amount, an incorrect HBA loan amount, an incorrect total mortgage amount, or incorrect calculation of the federally subsidized amount. NIFA Form G, the HBA promissory note. The first payment date must match the first mortgage first payment date. The principal amount must match in all 3 locations. Numeric and alphanumeric lines should contain the same information. And please remember the maturity date is calculated on a 10-year amortization. The closing date on all HBA closing documents should be the same as the closing date on the first mortgage. The closing date on NIFA Form H, the HBA second deed of trust, is reviewed to ensure the document execution date coincides with all other closing documents submitted. The NIFA team will also review the manner in which the title is held to the property so that it matches the first mortgage deed of trust. The HBA loan amount located on page 2 of the HBA second deed of trust is compared for accuracy and should match all other closing documents. Common file deficiency number 5, the Fannie Mae application. Perhaps there are inaccurate loan program terms. Maybe you're missing a loan officer signature. Maybe the HBA loan application is missing from the submission package. It could be missing all employer information or missing termination dates. Typical deficiencies on page 1 of the initial loan app include interest rate warnings to identify interest rates that differ from the NIFA registration, or missing information regarding borrower or co-borrower residence history. Deficiencies identified on page 3 of the initial loan app include the declaration section, section 8, for incompleteness, primarily on question M. Typical deficiencies identified on the signature page of the loan application include a loan officer signature is missing. And remember, with NIFA approval, e-signatures are allowed. Common file deficiency number 6, AUS findings. For inaccurate loan program terms, maybe the property address is missing, perhaps the DTI ratios are outside of our program limits, or maybe you are missing some special feature codes. Common file deficiency number 7, homebuyer education certificates. Maybe they are missing from the file submission completely. Remember that they must be dated within 12 months of closing, and they are required for all borrowers on the note. Homebuyer education certificates from each borrower on the loan are required at the time of the pre-closing file submission. Face-to-face homebuyer education is preferred. Some classes require a fee to participate. Other classes are offered online and some are free. Thank you again for joining me today for this presentation. As always, our team is available for questions. The members of our homeownership team are Susan Laver, Shelley Abraham, Micheline Henning, Jackie Young, and myself. If you need to reach us, please feel free to call the number at the bottom of this slide at 402-434-3900, or you can reach any member of our team at homeownership@nifa.org. Thank you for attending today, and we hope you have a great day.